Uh, s- I just got finished playing The Hunt for the North Stone. I believe it was on PBS's website. And this was a game where basically I was an explorer, a noble traveler, being asked to go around the ancient cities of Baghdad and Cordoba. In order to find this stone, I had to talk to scholars and historians and people at ports and all these things and gather information. What I liked about it was that process, because I think that was the main part of the process was basically learning introductions. How do you talk to people in this area? So assalamu alaikum and salaikum salam, and so learning how to say hello and goodbye, and learning how to say thank you and you're welcome. So I thought that was pretty neat, and it held you to it. So every time you met someone new, if you didn't have the right um, greeting, and if you didn't have the right salutation, you have to start over. And so that was kind of how it kicked you out and held you honest and made you kind of learn and use that lingo. I also liked the other information it brought. I mean, you learn, how they were traveling to all the different ports at this time, Greece and India, and that's how algebra came about in this region by a Middle Easterner, and that's how or sorry, soap came about in this area along with deodorant and toothpaste and tablecloths and all these things. And so you kind of learn that along the way, which is a pretty cool process. You also learn some history about Christianity and Islam coexisting, um, as living and learning together and going to school together and praying together and all these things. So I think that was the biggest changes. I don't think I would change anything except maybe add some sort of option where there's a gameplay. Most of this was answering questions. I could pick three things to say and I had to say the right thing, sort of deal. So you had to remember the salutation and the greetings. A lot of the information that you learned along the way would come back. So a lot of remembering. Um, so it didn't take you too much past there, but it would have been nice to have an option where they're actually running and jumping or decision making of some kind. I think our students and this generation of kids are used to games that do that, and so this one didn't do that. So if you could add anything, that would be it. Um, Useful for global learning, yes. Kind of for all the reasons I said earlier, but I think when you talk about globalization and trying to create a cosmopolitan environment where everyone's respected, you look at Islam and the Middle East, this area of the world, is often misunderstood, often judged harshly. So, something like this could even the playing field in the classroom and say, hey, look, what Islam has given us. Algebra comes from this area of the world. The three-course meal, tablecloths come from this area of the world. We still use this today. Um, and that was even copied by the Europeans, and so that's why still European people still think that comes from Europe. So I guess giving it that historical context and giving this region its credit as a very big educational hub at one point, they talk about the ports and traveling to Greece and traveling to India, and this was really a global, at the time, area that promoted learning and education and bringing all these ideas together. You learn that you know all these many years ago, Christians and Muslims were living together and learning together and in the same and studying together and even praying in the same building, even to different religions, but they just shared times. And so, you think about today, you hear the stories of people complaining about a mosque being built somewhere, or these kind of issues that pop up. You kind of think, wow, we're going backwards in some ways when they were easily working together back then and coexisting, and it seemed cosmopolitan, right? I mean, no one was judging or forcing their religion on anyone. So I think in that aspect, there's a lot we could pull from that this simple little game. So I thought that was very interesting. I guess in thinking about cosmopolitan and almost how we get back to that, because it seems like they had it in some ways. As a rating, I would give it a 3 out of 5. I think for the student, because again, there's not that gameplay or that interactive option, but it's definitely a cool new way to learn information, to learn respect for a new culture, and I think it would be a great introduction to a unit on this area, especially if you were in history class and talking about the Tigris and Euphrates. Those things are brought up in the game also. But I think for the teacher, I give it a 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, because it's not very long. It's a quick game. They can win it in probably no more than 30 minutes. Like I said, a great introductory unit for the teacher to get them thinking about and respecting the culture and getting its significance before going into it. Um, so yeah, I actually thought it was a pretty good game, especially in the history context, or even if you're getting into Middle Eastern literature or something like that.